Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another political episode. We are back again today, and we're talking about the first international election of the year. This is the Croatian runoff, or the second round in other words. Croatia, no surprise, reelected their president, Zoran Milanovic, to a second term in a landslide with 74% of the popular vote, defeating the conservative candidate Dragan Primorac, who obviously was defeated in a landslide with 25.31% of the popular vote. Now, if you watched our first video in regards to the first round that was on the 29th of December, our very last election of 2024, you'll see that we saw this coming. Milanovic almost was elected on the 29th of December. If he had gotten a little bit more, let's see what I want to know what the first round results. Of course, those first round results, they're here somewhere. They're here, yes. 49.68%. If he got, let's say, 0.40% more, actually, this is the first round. He obviously would have been elected a long time ago. The second round would never even happen. But obviously, looking at this, that we have a different scenario and different case here. Milanovic is, of course, elected in the second round, meaning that since Milanovic won the second round, although this second round eventually would go into the next year, because you at least need 50% to claim a majority. Yes, Milanovic was successful in claiming not only 50%, but he came out with the majority of the popular vote with 74%. Milanovic, you can remember, he comes from the left-wing political party. He's an independent. We got to remember, he is an independent, but he is endorsed and made an alliance with the left-wing, let's see here, the left-wing Social Democratic Party, more center-left political party, a progressive political party, in the said part of that Socialist International, which, of course, a string of socialist political parties around the world, in the said around the world. So taking a look there, you also got the Progressive Alliance is also part of the Progressive Alliance. So no surprise here, Croatia re-electing their progressive left-wing president. Not a surprise here, and like I explained it a lot of times in my videos in regards to Croatia before. Croatia is a country that is more center, okay? It's more center-ish. And when it comes to Europe, it isn't usually left or right. You'll see this is my diagram of countries that are more left-wing versus right-wing. Now, keep in mind, I know I got a lot of people scratching their heads. North NSE, Javier Milei from Argentina is right-wing. Yes, he is right-wing. But the thing about Argentina is we're doing this by average, okay? Now, in how this map works is we estimate the amount of times each country elected a president from the majority of an ideology. The United States elected a conservative president in 2024, Donald Trump. However, from 2008, 2012, 2020, you'll see there has been a lot of advantages for Democrats. In 2016, Democrats benefited, despite Donald Trump, a right-wing president, winning. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. So it's kind of complicated, but let's just say J.D. Vance were to be re-elected in 2028, then we would give the United States to the conservative right. The reason why we have Argentina into the left, the progressive left, we got to remember the Peronist party, 2020, the list of Argentina presidents. Before Javier Milei came around, the Peronist Party had a lot of left-wing presidents. Now, the Peronist Party is generally a political party that's more center. There has been a lot of conservative Peronists and liberal Peronists. For instance, there's Alberto Fernandez. He is not a Peronist. He is comes from that Peronist party, the PJ, the Judicialist Party, but he represents the leftist faction. You also got other presidents like Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner. She comes from the leftist faction, and you got also Nestor Kirchner. So there's also a lot of presidents that, and really, Milei was just the first right-wing president in Argentina in a long time. Now, if, once again, Milei gets reelected, whenever that election will be, 2027, then we will declare Argentina a conservative country. But as of right now, the Peronists, the progressive Peronists in this case, we got to clarify, more recent Peronists are more progressive. They are keeping Argentina left, but it turns out that Argentina is going more rightward. But as of right now, Argentina is still a progressive country. But where does Croatia lie, especially with these results? You would think, a 70% margin would definitely give Croatia a more center left, or give the progressive left the country. However, we got to understand, is the presidency, is Zoran Milanovic actually the head of state of Croatia? So we can actually look that up. Head of state of Croatia, because I want to believe I think he's the head of state, commander-in-chief. So we know the presidency is the head of state, so we could possibly, let's give it a toss-up as of right now. Croatia is a toss-up. So there's 109 countries in the world that identify as being aligned with the conservative right. 86 countries identifying as being aligned with the progressive left. So looking at Croatia, we got to understand list of heads of state of the world. We can actually answer that question. So we got to remember, Croatia also has a prime minister. So it says here, the green. What's the green mean? Green cells indicate leaders whose offices constitutionally administer the executive or their respective state government. Now, just because the president, Milanovic, is the head of state of Croatia, he's sort of like the king, of Croatia, or like the king of Great Britain, or the king of the UK, the king of Britain, Charles III. He is not Charles. You see, Charles III. I cannot believe I'm saying that. I think it's Charles. Yes, Charles III. I obviously he's the king of England. What type of question? Yeah, Charles III. You'll see he's the head of state, but he doesn't have those constitutional powers, executive powers, to control the country. Like Joe Biden, the current president of the United States, has the power to control and has executive power of the country, and he is the head of state. But Milanovic, he does not have that executive power. The presidency of Croatia is just a symbol. It is the highest office of Croatia, but President Milanovic has very little power. Who has the power, you may ask? That is Prime Minister Andrej Plenkovic. Okay? Andrej Plenkovic. And clearly here you'll see he is the prime minister, and you'll see more of the prime ministers. He comes from the Croatian Democratic Union, and obviously it's a center right. So with that being said, the list of prime ministers of Croatia. Okay, so you'll see that conservatives control the prime minister's office. The last time the Social Democrats controlled the prime minister's office was in 2011, where the president-elect, Zoran Milanovic, won the 2011 election for that office. But ever since 2016, the conservative Andrej Plenkovic actually has held that rank, and the conservatives held that rank. So it's kind of hard to say. The left, or the Social Democrats, hold the highest office in Croatia, while that highest office doesn't have the executive powers, like the executive powers, like to declare war or to tariff. That's all going to the prime minister. Well, actually, I want to clarify: the president can't declare war; Congress does. But then again, the prime minister does the duties of the president, right? What our president of the United States does. The president of Croatia is just a symbol head, while the prime minister, this guy right here, Plenković, he's the big guy in Croatia. He's the guy that meets with all the world leaders. He's the guy we go to negotiate. He is the symbol head. Although, let's just say, we got to clarify, it's kind of confusing. Zoran Milanovic is actually the president, and he's actually the head of state. So it's kind of similar to like the UK. Think of Milanovic as the king, sort of, but he's actually the president. It's kind of confusing. But in Croatia, the president is just a symbol head. So it's conservatives aren't wiping their head. They're not wiping their tears right now because they know they have the prime minister's office. Plenković is actually the guy who actually, I wouldn't say it has the executive powers of what the typical president would have. So he's the big guy. He has the most power, despite Milanovic having the highest office of the land. So it's kind of confusing, but because Plenković is the prime minister, and his office has more power than the said presidency occupied by Social Democrats, we are projecting that the conservative right will remain in power. Well, I wouldn't say in power. They're technically in power in Croatia right now. Croatia is split ideologically, but we're just going to declare that Croatia is a right-wing, more center-right country. Why? Because we got to remember, Andrej Plenković comes from a conservative political party, the Croatian Democratic Union, while Zoran Milanovic, he's an independent. He doesn't really come from a political party. He used to come from the SDP, but he left, and now he actually aligns with the SDP, but he's an independent still. He's sort of like Bernie Sanders, if you will, in the United States, who will run as a Democrat in the Democratic primaries, but he's really a Democrat, but he's really an independent. So it's kind of hard to say, but this is pretty much the results. Big result there, a landslide victory for the progressive left. Now, scenario on how will Croatia become a progressive country? You'll see most of Europe is conservative, and you got to remember, European Union is vastly conservative country, but we got to remember, conservative over there is very different from conservative in the United States. So keep in mind, it's very different. Center-right's very different from the center-right here. But you'll see here clearly, Croatia, we've explained why Croatia, despite having their president winning a landslide, a massive mandate, over 1 million Croatians voting for that the progressive president, Croatia still remains a conservative country because the conservatives have the executive power in the country. They are the negotiators, while the left, the Social Democrats, they are mainly the symbol head of the country. They're like the King Charles III role. They are just a symbol. Okay, although the president, they want you to make it look like that they're the big deal. They are the ones running things, but they're not. But anyway, if you're from Croatia, what do you guys think? You can clearly see, looking at this map, it's a huge sweep. This is the first round. Milanovic carried every single county, and they're called counties in Croatia. They're not called provinces. They're called counties. So, obviously here. And Milanovic obviously carried every county again with 74% of the popular vote. Traditionally, the SDP has its stronghold in northern Croatia. I want to believe that this region of Croatia, I'm blanking on the name. This is I'm blanking on the name. Croatia regions. We gotta look at the. It starts with a P. Pomerania. No, Pomerania. Nope, I'm wrong. I'm wrong because Pomerania is in Germany. I'm close. Oh, Dalmatia. Okay, yes, Dalmatia. Right here. This is Dalmatia. Dalmatia is traditionally very conservative. Keep in mind. This is where the SDP, no, not the SDP, the CDU has its best majority in winning. The north up here, this is where the basin for the SDP is. It's along the Slovenian border. And as you can see, Slovenia is clearly a progressive country. It's been a progressive country for a very long time. It historically has very presence. You'll see right up here, Istria is the biggest, it's the best province, the biggest progressive basin for the SDP in Croatia. Well, let's see. Central Croatia. I do, yeah, this is Central Croatia region. I know for sure that this starts with an H. The up here, that starts with an H. Is it like Jerez? I don't know. It starts with an H. I'm not Croatian, obviously, and I'm learning, guys. I'm learning. I'm getting very interested in international politics and reading and learning these regions. I know the peninsula right here is Istria. I know this is Dalmatia right here, the big coastal lines here. I'm just struggling with this area. It starts with an H, but this region starts with an H. I cannot think of the name. And I know the name, I just cannot think of it right now. And I probably won't come up with my head saying it. Oh, Slavonia. Okay, this area is Slavonia. Okay, that's the region, historical region. Yeah, these are the counties in each region. But anyway, I'm getting distracted. You get what I mean. So what do you guys think in regards to the victory? Would you vote for Zoran Milanovic? I know we're a conservative channel, a right-wing populist channel, and ideally we would have supported Dragan Primorac, but we got to remember it's the Republican Party has who knows, maybe the left, like the SDP, may have some MAGA viewpoints. I know in the political party in Slovakia, let's go to that Slovakia election, the political party in Slovakia, the HLAS, very left-wing, the Social Democracy Party, it has a lot of MAGA viewpoints. The President Peter Pellegrini actually endorsed Donald Trump. Despite being a left-wing president, he actually is against the Ukraine war. He is wanting to cut ties, cut all the money with Ukraine, and put Slovakia first. This is like a Slovakia first political party, and it's a left-wing political party. So it's very different. Center-left means something totally different than it actually does in the United States. Center-right means something totally different than it does in the United States. So who would you vote for? Zoran Milanovic or Dragan Primorac? So let me know down below, and as always, I'll see you all in the next political episode.